Welcome Towson University alumni and our graduating students. I'm Margaret Paulson, the Young Alumni and Student Outreach Coordinator and a proud 2011 TU graduate. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar as part of Senior and Recent Grad Week. I wanted to briefly share some information about the Alumni Association before we begin. We are a free organization that you automatically become a member of once you graduate. We have a free online, alumni-only community, Tiger Connect, where you can connect with former classmates, register for events, and see special discounts, benefits, and programs only available to alumni. Some of our discount programs include discounts on home and auto insurance through Geico, discount tickets to the Maryland Zoo, the National Aquarium, and the Hippodrome, just to name a few. We also have an Alumni Alliance program where alumni can form groups based on shared interests, whether it be a student activity that you participated in as a student, geographical, location, cultural, or identity. Please feel free to visit alumni.towson.edu and look around the alumni website to see all of the benefits and services that we offer.
So I'd like to introduce Colleen McKenna. She is a 1983 TU graduate and a member of the TU Business and Leadership Alumni Alliance that is open to all TU alumni who are interested in connecting with other alumni through professional and social networking opportunities. Colleen launched Intero Advisory for individuals and companies focused on increasing their sales and talent initiatives. Since 2011, Intero Advisory, a LinkedIn consulting, coaching, and training firm, has been engaged by more than 600 companies who have increased their presence, revenue, and hiring opportunities through applying Colleen's insight, strategy, and techniques to tens of thousands of business professionals. Colleen has worked with and for startups to market leaders like Xerox, Consolidated Graphics, and CareFirst. Colleen, thank you for leading today's presentation.
Great. Thanks, Margaret. Great to be with you. And I really love the chat. I want this to be as interactive as possible. So your questions and comments, really, really important. A couple people have added to the chat about what they want to take away from today's session, and it's about what to put on their profile, networking. John will talk a little bit about internships, but I'm not familiar with the Business 461 course. So you might want to ask Margaret about that, or this will be focused on how to build your profile and really start to engage on LinkedIn. So as Margaret said, I've been Intero Advisory. I am based in Baltimore and we work across North America, blog quite a bit. I speak about LinkedIn pretty much every single day. So whether I'm working with young professionals like yourselves or CEOs of companies that are, 100 million in revenue or greater, it's always about the same components. So if you can think about putting yourself in the position of a recruiter, a hiring manager, and thinking, what do they need to know about me so that I can get on their radar? That's the lens that I want you to look through today. So the first piece and the most basic element of LinkedIn is what's on your LinkedIn profile. Margaret shared a list of attendees with me a couple of days ago. If I could find you, I looked at your profile already. There are a couple of people who have really great profiles built out. I can tell that they like to write, and other people have very little content on their profile. Everybody always says to me, well, how much content do I need to put on my profile? You need to put on the content that is going to create context for the person receiving it. So we're going to really dive into that. But you first have a brand. I want you to build out your personal brand. When you have a job or an internship, you're going to represent that organization. And I always suggest making sure that's on there. Once we look at your profile, we're going to talk about opportunities by building a network. Building a diverse network is really important. There may be people that you connect with today that you're going to know for the next 20, 30, 40 years. There will be some people you'll connect with them today and you'll never have another conversation with them, unfortunately. But it's about building a network where there's engagement. And I want you to think about this as a career asset. That's really, really important. and then being known by posting. I'm pretty confident you all are good posters, whether it might be on Instagram or Twitter, whatever platform, TikTok or Snapchat, whatever platform you're using, you know the buttons to push. Usually I'm working with CEOs, they get the strategy, but they're not familiar with the buttons and feel comfortable pushing the buttons. I want you to think about LinkedIn strategically though. So it's going to be very different. It's why I call this session, it's business, not social. I don't look at LinkedIn like social media. It's a career asset that where you're going to develop your personal brand and your network to engage throughout your career. Now, down the road, something else could replace LinkedIn. Absolutely. I don't dismiss that idea. However, right now there's about 710 million plus members on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's owned by Microsoft, who has over 1.3 billion users. So there's a lot of room for LinkedIn to continue to grow. And I think it will be hard to kind of usurp LinkedIn as a platform. How many of you have Googled yourselves lately? Is anybody, if you can drop that in the chat, yep, I have. And if so, tell me what appears on the first couple of results. If you haven't, what I'd like you to do is go to Google, just open another tab and Google your name. Now, if you share your name with a lot of other people, you may need to put in Towson University, Baltimore, the company where you're interning. You might need to help Google out a little bit. But if, regardless of what you put in, what appears. So I'm hoping somebody will drop something in. Margaret, have you Googled yourself lately?
I just did. So what comes up for me first off is my position in our office, and then pictures of me from our staff page, and then my LinkedIn profile is the third link down.
Okay, so third or fourth. Hidara, the third link is my LinkedIn. Terrific. And I apologize if I pronounced your name incorrectly. So anybody else, your LinkedIn profile should be coming up 1, 2, 3, 4. Google really likes LinkedIn. And the reason Google bases everything on TrustRank. The more trustworthy they see a website or content from a website, the higher the rankings. They look at LinkedIn very favorably. Number one, because there's over 710 million people, it should be your up-to-date professional information. So if that's true, and Google likes LinkedIn, and then they give everybody a little bit of SEO love, every individual, then your profile should come up pretty high in Google for LinkedIn. Janelle said, second link is my LinkedIn. Great. So unless you do nothing on LinkedIn and just use a lot of other social sites and those come up first, that's going to be the only reason. However, I want your LinkedIn profile to come up 1, 2, 3, 4. The question then becomes, if it is third or fourth and somebody clicks on it, do they best understand who you are? Do they see the very best version of you? And I can share with you, I work with CEOs and leadership teams all over the country. Usually when I have them go through this exercise and they click, they're a little mortified. They're like, that doesn't represent me. I haven't updated my LinkedIn profile in 5 years, in 10 years, whatever it might be. So don't feel overwhelmed by this. What we want to talk about today is exactly what to put on your LinkedIn profile. So I want you to have that context because people will be putting your name in Google, or if they hear about you, or if you applied for a job, they're probably, a recruiter is going to go to Google. They're not just going to go through LinkedIn, but they're going to want to see what comes up overall. So they might be looking at certain things just from a straight up Google search. One of the first things that I want you to do, and we're going to jump into LinkedIn, I'm going to spend most of my time in LinkedIn, is I want you to work on your settings and privacy area. So I'm just going to jump into LinkedIn right now. And what I'm going to do is, just make sure I have the right screen up. Then I want to make sure that you spend time in this settings area because it best sets up your strategy for LinkedIn. So you can see there's a couple of different versions. LinkedIn's doing a lot of changing right now. So your settings and privacy may look like this. 10 minutes in this area. We don't have time in just a 55, 60-minute session to go through all of these different settings. But each of these settings really establishes how much somebody can see you or if you're under the radar. Lots of times for CEOs, we're putting them a little bit under the radar because they want to be under the radar. You do not want to be under the radar. You are looking for internships and jobs. So you want to make sure that people can see you and see as much as possible so they can say, okay, this is who this person is. This is why we should bring them in to talk to them about a position. So I'm just going to come in here and just log in real quick. I cleared all my cache this morning, so now I have to log back in. So in the settings area, we are going to go to my profile. So you're going to go to me at the top. Let me just move my screen here. Up here, and then you are going to click on settings and privacy. A couple of the things that are really, really important here. Visibility. Right now, my profile viewing options, I have them turned off. I want you to make sure yours are turned on because you are probably just using the basic version of LinkedIn. So you can use the free version of LinkedIn, and everything that we talk about today is going to be based on that. It's where you're going to manage your profile and you're going to manage your network. But if you look at somebody's profile, I want them to know that you looked at their profile. There's benefit in that. If you are going to a job interview, you want to look at all of the people that you think you might be interviewing with. The number one activity on LinkedIn is seeing who viewed their profile. So it's important for you to make sure that others know that you reviewed their profile. Do not go to an interview without doing that. And then edit your public profile. I'd like you to come to this area, please. And what I want to do here is I just want to show you a couple of things that I think are really important. And then we'll jump back into what goes on your profile. Up in the top right corner, it says edit your custom URL. And many of you may have your first and last name and a series of numbers and letters. If you have a series of numbers and letters, I'd like you just to click the blue pencil and remove all of those numbers, letters, and hyphens. I want you just to have your first and last name. If you do that and you hit save and it says it's already been taken, then you'll need to put in an initial or a number at the end of your name. So I need you to have a clean version of this URL. Why? So this is your LinkedIn URL. It should go on your resume. It needs to be a hyperlink on your resume so that people, if they have your resume, can go right to LinkedIn. I highly suggest putting it on your email signature so that if somebody receives an email from you, once again, they can click and get right to your LinkedIn profile. Okay, I want to make sure that you're creating these bi-directional pathways so that it's easy for people to see who you are. You might have some different information on your LinkedIn profile than on your resume. So we want to make sure that people always have whatever view they need to make and take some next steps. Down below, please make sure you have a photo, first of all. Please upload as professional a photo as you can get. There should only be you in the photo. It should be not what might be on Facebook or any other channel. Try to make sure that the lighting is good and that you're dressed professionally. You don't have to be all dressed up. You don't have to be necessarily in a jacket, but you do have to be, I would say, dressed like you would go on an interview or be working. And then please make sure your photo is set to public. I noticed a couple of people when I went to your LinkedIn profile, I couldn't see a photo, and I didn't know if that was because you didn't have a photo or if because when we're not connected, we're not first level connections, that's why. So you want to make sure it is viewable to everyone. And then down below, there are a number of sections, and we're going to talk about these in a couple of minutes. And I want to make sure that you have as many sections as appropriate on your LinkedIn profile and that they are visible to somebody who you may not be connected to, but might be looking at your profile. Make sense? So we just want to make sure that you're really very clear on that, so that once again, people see the best version of you immediately. Recruiters are moving very quickly. Very unlikely that a recruiter will spend more than 5 seconds on your profile. So you've got to catch them. And that is what's really important. And that's typically where most people kind of fall off in LinkedIn, is they sound like everybody else. And I want to make sure that you sound unique. You're telling your professional story. Once again, you're going to go through some of these, just go through them and set them up the way you are most comfortable, but you want to make sure that people, especially recruiters, can see you. And you'll see down below, let's just see here. Okay. I just wanted to show you one thing, but LinkedIn has just moved that one. For jobs, you can turn that on so recruiters will be able to see that you are seeking a new opportunity. All right, let's go back in, and I want to talk about what should go on your LinkedIn profile. How many of you use LinkedIn more from your phone, from the app, or more from the desktop? If you can drop that in, desktop or app, that would be great. When you are looking for a job, if you are applying for a job through LinkedIn, desktop. Oh, I like that. Great. If you are using LinkedIn to find a new opportunity, definitely use your desktop. However, we want to actually design your profile for the phone, for the smallest screen. More than 70% of people, including recruiters, will be looking at your profile probably on their phone. I think that's changed a little bit in the last 6 months just because more people are working remotely. I've seen the desktop version increase because we can check it through Google Analytics. So just use your app wisely. We also see a lot of people who are responding through their phone, and that's fine to do, but do make sure you don't have any typos in those messages. So here, I just want to show you some profiles. You can see here, great background image. So maybe right now I noticed a couple people have Towson University, a campus photo. That's terrific. Here, the reason I pulled up Martha is she has some good keywords, and I'm going to show you some others, students and young professionals and what they have in their profiles. But I want you to focus on having a headline. And I recognize, because somebody mentioned earlier, I don't have a lot of experience. So I want you to start putting in keywords. Keywords are going to be related to your major, what you want to do when you graduate. So keywords are going to tell LinkedIn something about you. Remember, LinkedIn is a search engine, just like Google, just like Amazon, Netflix. We need to give LinkedIn information so they understand who you are. And we start to do that right at the top. So we want to draw people in with a photo. You can use Canva. If you're not familiar with how to create images, I'm just going to drop this in. You can check out canva.com and you can create images very easily and quickly to drop in your profile. Here's Lacey. Lacey is an attorney up in Baltimore County, new to LinkedIn, was not really ever on LinkedIn. And you can see, once again, no title. I mean, she has her title, Attorney Wagenheim Law, but that's not all she has. Once again, we now describe the type of law she practices. And I know and recognize that these are not students and young professionals. Doesn't matter. You need to do the same thing. And that's the reason I wanted to show you some of their profiles. So let's talk about what should go on your profile. Number one, unlike a resume, your LinkedIn profile is best written in the first person. Why? Number one, you want to make sure you're using LinkedIn as a digital handshake. And this has never been more important than it is right now. First person's much more approachable. You create more of a presence when it's written in the first person than the third person. If you were at a networking event, I'm quite positive you would not introduce yourself in the third person. So we want to do the same thing in LinkedIn. We want to start with the first person. As I've already been talking about, we want to identify 4 to 6 keywords, describe who you are and what you do or what you aspire to do, the industry you want to work in, the type of company you want to work in. You can even put seeking new opportunities. I want you to start to create trust and likability and approachability in your profile. Very, very important. And it can be done just by writing in a professionally conversational way. So let people get to know you. You want to write for your audience. And right now, your audience, my guess is, will be those recruiters and hiring managers. So write to them. What do you think they're looking for? And you might need to do some research. You might need to think about some of about culture, what kind of a culture you're looking to work in. A large company, a smaller company, more of a boutique company. What is it? What are those soft skills? One of the things that we've really encouraged everybody that we're working with this year to add to their profile, if you've done any behavioral assessments, Strengths Finders, Myers-Briggs, Predictive Index, DISC. And if you haven't done them, several of them, DISC comes to mind, you can go online and do a free version. It's going to give you an assessment of your work style behaviors. Adding that kind of information to your LinkedIn profile is awesome. Immediately tells somebody on the hiring side a little bit more you. So there's a lot of value in that. You might also talk about those soft skills, collaboration, team player. Those kind of soft skills are what people are looking for. The third piece, what kind of tech do you use and are you comfortable with? Zoom, GoToMeeting, WebEx, BlueJeans, Trello, Slack. What kind of CRMs might you know how to use? Salesforce, HubSpot, all of these tools also make you more marketable. Now, I recognize based on some of your majors that those may not apply, but some of them do. Certainly the Zoom and those things, because you might be interviewing through Zoom. So we want to make sure that you're really comfortable there. Just put it on your profile. Let your personality come out. It's very, very important because think about a recruiter. They will be looking at sometimes, maybe 100 LinkedIn profiles a day or resumes a day. After about 10 or 15, they all start to sound alike. So I do want your personality to shine because that's what's going to make a difference. That's why somebody will remember you. If you are working at an organization already, or maybe doing an internship, put a little something in there about that company or nonprofit because it creates context. Not everybody knows every company. So include that where it makes sense. Keep your paragraphs super short. Remember, people are scanning. If they're on their phones, make it easy for people to read through your profile, get the information they need quickly. And a regular sized paragraph can look often very dense on a small screen. So multiple paragraphs, totally fine. Just keep them super short. And I want you to complete all the sections. So the experience section, put those internships in there. So if you include internships, think about, what did you learn from that internship? What did you part-time experience at the pool? What did you take from that, and put it in there under that in the description area? It makes a huge difference. Obviously, education needs to be in there and updated. And then LinkedIn adds in a number of other sections. Languages, organizations, those are professional student organizations you might belong to. Maybe you've written something for a publication related to your major. Test scores, I actually like this for young professionals because a lot of times the test scores and the courses, you can put that course name, especially an upper level course. Those are great keywords. Maybe you're getting a certification in something, spell out that certification. So I actually want to just come back in to LinkedIn for a second, and I want to show you just on my profile a couple of new things. And you might have a different version of LinkedIn than I do because they're rolling out a brand new version. So in my profile, you'll see right on my profile, add profile section. This is where you're going to find all of these other sections. You can add video. Maybe you did a capstone presentation and you were recorded. Put that up there. Whatever makes sense. Maybe somebody interviewed you. Maybe you have a podcast. I don't know. Add that all in. But there are some new things that you can add in. LinkedIn's now adding these little prompts in, which is nice. Under intro, looking for a new job, there's actually now kind of a ribbon that wraps your photo that tells people hashtag open to work, that you're open to some new opportunities. That might be something you want to consider. Recruiters will find you regardless if you have everything set up correctly. Okay. If you have multiple languages that you speak, please add those in. That is something that is really terrific and it really sets you apart. All right. Any questions on this profile area? Kind of a lot. I'm going to send Margaret a couple of extra resources so you have some extra resources specific to that job search and your profile. Add those skills in so you can just follow right down with all of the prompts in LinkedIn and just fill out that profile. Make sure you add to your profile every couple of months. It's a work in progress. Okay. All right. Something else that I want you to think about once your profile is set, remember, you want to stand out. So think about writing that profile and then having somebody review it. Have somebody else look at it, make sure there's no typos. We don't want any typos or grammar mistakes in your profile. All right. Any questions? If there's no questions, I'm going to jump over to my network, and then we're going to take a quick look at jobs. One of the first things that I want you to pay attention to, so I'm coming to my homepage, and you'll see here who's viewed your profile. I can come and look at who's viewed my profile, and I can see Dave Lorenzo, first level connection, and I can start to see people, and Kesh I haven't talked to in a couple of months, and I can see why people are looking at my profile. Typically, I might have a conversation with them or I might reach out to them. One of the things I want to be really clear about is how you connect with people. So here is Amy Montgomery. She's a second level connection, which means we are not directly connected. Notice this connect button. Please do not click the connect button. LinkedIn's going to give you a lot of random places to click connect. Don't do it. And the reason is it's going to send off a connection request that is not personalized. When you are looking for a job and you are building out a network, 99% of the time, that connection request should be personalized. Tell the person why you're connecting with them. And I'm going to show you how that appears in just a moment. So if I want to look at Amy, so here's Amy. I'm going to go into her full profile. I'm going to see how we're connected. And so here's 11 people that connect me to Amy. But if I want to send her a request, I'm going to click this button. I'm going to hit connect. And now it says add a note. And I'm going to send Amy a personalized connection request. Okay. Amy, came across your profile on LinkedIn. So we have a couple of mutual connections. Would love the opportunity to connect. I might look at her profile and say, wow, your background is really pretty deep in this particular area. I might pull something out that shows that I actually paid attention and read her profile. So please do not just be sending connection requests out that are random. So let me show you how that looks. So here you can see I have about 120 open connections, and some of them have been personalized, but you can see a number of them. And if I keep going down, I would say 85% of the connection requests I receive are not personalized. Most people want to know who they're connecting with, or at least why they're connecting. So we do want to make sure that we're being really clear. So Daniel, hi Colleen, open to connect. Not really sure why Daniel wants to connect. And so I want to make sure that when I'm sending connection requests, I'm being really clear about that. Okay, here I can go in and accept it. Once it's accepted, the next most important thing to do is to do a follow-up message. Thanks for connecting. Most people do nothing. If this is somebody that could potentially hire you or connect you, so you have to think about the people who can hire you, which is really, really important. But there could be lots of people who connect you to people who can hire you. So once again, build out a really strong network. So just pay attention. You don't have to connect with everyone. However, I was just on a call earlier. If you receive connection requests or messages from recruiters, I highly recommend connecting with them, because just like LinkedIn looks at your profile to see what kind of content's on it, they look at the relevancy of your network. And most recruiters have very large networks. So by connecting with people who have large networks, you immediately expand your network. Okay, so that's important. So because once we build this out, we start to have connections, and maybe we're connecting to hiring managers in Baltimore and Philadelphia, for example, then LinkedIn's going to say, here are more people in Philadelphia who are recruiters. Here are more people in Baltimore who are hiring managers. So LinkedIn looks at that, and you can see if I scroll down in this area, LinkedIn showing me events that I might be interested in, people I might know from Towson University, right? Because that's my alumni network. And I'm going to show you how to search your alumni network in just a couple of minutes. People you might know with similar roles, right? People I might know in the same area, same industry. So if you're in environmental sciences, for example, if you're connected to some of those people with the same major or the same industry, they're going to pop up here. Once again, you'll see all these random connect buttons. Don't click them, just go right into their full profile. And then people you follow also follow these pages, and these are actually companies. So very important to take a look at this. And then people recommended. So LinkedIn's always sitting in the background. Their algorithm's always creating these connections. So that's the network area. I want you to be really clear on that. And then I'm going to take you to Towson's university page. So on Towson University, you can see they have over 106,000 alumni. Margaret, do you still? This might be a good place to spend some time for everybody on this call, me included. So here, notice what I can start to see. I can filter by years. So I might say, I want to look from 1990 to 2017. And now I'm down from 116,000 to 75,000 people. I can see where the alumni live, where they work, what they do, what they've studied, what they're skilled at, and how I'm connected to them. So you'll notice I have 271 first level connections that went to Towson, but I have 14,318 that are second level. So I'm already connected to these people. So if I want to start to build my network, I'm going to come in and I'm going to start to look at this group of 13,000. And I might say, maybe I want to see if I can find any people who are recruiters. Here's 709 people who went to Towson University who are recruiters. I can also see the recruiting companies where they work, okay, and where they live. So if I want to be in Baltimore, I can then continually filter down. So now we're just looking, we're using LinkedIn as a database, and we're just asking them to return, give us searches and results for people who fit what we're asking for. I would start at this page, and I would start to, once your profile is set up, connect with these recruiters. And there are probably, if you are in, political science, there will be recruiters. So you could put in political science, because I can come back and look for that particular skill set if I want. So I can sort this a number of ways. Really, really important. So if I want to look at mass communication, I can come in and I see 97 people. Once again, personalize the connection request, and you can simply say, I notice you're a fellow alum. Great common bond already built in. Recruiters are going to accept your connection request. They're building a database. So very, very important for you to take a look at. All right. That, I know I have clients who spend weeks just working their alumni network and do it very successfully. Couple of other things. I want you to come over to the jobs tab at the top, and you can start to put in the types of jobs where you're interested and kind of manage what you want to see. The more specific you are in this area, the more LinkedIn will serve up jobs that will align with your major, your area of interest, geography. So the more information you tell LinkedIn, the better your results will be from LinkedIn. Okay, so you can come in and you can even start to build your resume. So a lot of times we're working with clients where we're building their LinkedIn profile, and then we build their resume right off of that. And a really quick way to kind of look and see what that looks like is that I can come in here, and if you need a quick resume and you've worked on your LinkedIn profile, but you haven't really completed your resume, you can come in here and you can simply say, build a resume, or even just create a PDF of that, and it'll at least pop it up in kind of a reasonable way. So you can see my summary, my contact information, my website, top skills, certifications. So it's at least the beginning of a resume. Lots of times people will say, just send me something. You should absolutely spend a good deal of time on that. But in the short run, this will help you create that pretty quickly. All right, last area is I'm going to show you how to do a search in LinkedIn. Once again, to find the right people to connect with. So here I'm going to come in and I'm going to do, and this can be whatever you want it to be, but right now I'm going to come in and I'm going to put in recruiter or the word hiring manager, let's say. Okay. Notice when I have two words like hiring manager, I put them in quotation marks. So LinkedIn sees that as a phrase, not independent words, because if I don't put it in quotations, anybody who has the word hiring and anyone who has the word manager on their LinkedIn profile will come up in my search results. And it's not going to be targeted enough. So you're going to see a lot of people, you're like, why did LinkedIn send this to me? They did because of the way the search was created. The word or expands our search. So recruiter or hiring manager, but the word or must always be capitalized. So if I come in and I start to look at recruiter or hiring manager, you see I have 1.8 million results. This is based on the relevancy of my network. If you are in Baltimore right now, but you are graduating or you've already graduated and you decide you want to work in Washington, D.C. or London or San Francisco, wherever it might be, you need to build out a network in that area. So this can be a good way of doing that. So here I can do recruiter or hiring manager. I'm just going to hit people, click people here. And I'm going to say that I want my second level. I'm not looking for my first level right now. I'm already connected to them. And I'm going to hit apply. So I'm just went from 1.8 million down to 47,000. I can look at particular companies. But here I might say, you know what? I just want to look Washington, D.C. So now I've gone from 47,000 down to 6,700. And which is still a lot. Now I can come in and I can now just come over to particular filters and I can say, you know what? I really want to look for those hiring managers and recruiters in hospital and healthcare, for example. So I'm going to hit apply again. And now I'm down to 343, which is a whole lot more manageable. And now I'm going to create a search alert. In that search alert, I can create a saved search. So I can create 3 saved searches, just hit save. And on a weekly basis, LinkedIn will update me on anybody who's come into my network based on this search. So this is very, very important to do. It just saves you some time, but this is where you're going to start to, maybe I want to take a look at Keely Hilton. So I look at Keely's LinkedIn profile. I see where she is. I can look at her company page. Right? I can see a little bit about the company, pretty big company, 22,000 employees. I can go to their website. I can see if they have any jobs. So they have a number of jobs on here, which probably tells me that they are using LinkedIn Recruiter. So they can see everybody in LinkedIn. So they're using LinkedIn. This particular job, I could save it or I could apply for that job right here. Tells me how many people have applied. So I get to see a fair amount of information here. So I went from a search to a LinkedIn profile to a company page in what, 30 seconds, maybe a minute, and I can start to understand what's happening in this company. So this company is actually hiring. Looks like it's hiring quite a bit. It might be a company that I decide to create a job alert around. So not only a search, but for those types of people I want to connect with, but I start to create these job alerts. So you can do this kind of search all day long in LinkedIn. And you want to be really, really specific about the types of searches you do. You want to start with somebody's LinkedIn profile, check out their company page. And if you are actually going to interview with them, please look not only at their website, but at their company page, because you'll get a really good sense of who works there. So I can see 5 employees went to University of Baltimore. I might see 5 employees went to Towson University. I can get an idea of what they're posting, what they're talking about. So all of this is good context for a company starting a conversation, personalizing that connection request, interviewing. I can also see other companies that are similar to this particular company. 94% of companies are using LinkedIn as one of their major recruiting tools. So you do not want to overlook how you look on LinkedIn or how you use LinkedIn to see what they're doing as well. So I just want to be really clear on that. We've kind of covered a lot of territory. We have about 9 minutes. So I wanted to give you some additional information to just kind of follow up on. Pay attention to your messaging area, because you will receive messages right through LinkedIn, and somebody will, so this is an in-mail. So Dipti sent me an in-mail, which tells me she has the premium version of LinkedIn. Very often you will see in-mail from recruiters. Okay. And they might be talking to you about a position. You can say, yes, interested, or no, thanks. Okay. So very often you just want to make sure that you're following up. A lot of times, and we do recruiting for our clients. We reach out to a number of young professionals about job opportunities, and some actually very good job opportunities. They never respond. Tells us they're not using LinkedIn. Now on their profile, it says open to new opportunities, looking for a job, but they're not paying attention. So please make sure you jump into LinkedIn at least every other day, if not every day, when you're looking for a position, because those recruiters just have to keep moving. And if you don't respond quick enough, you could lose an opportunity, and you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you look like you are really well-versed and using LinkedIn. All right. Margaret, do you have any particular questions or areas you would like me to cover before I wrap up?
No, but I think you've covered everything. And now I have to go update my LinkedIn profile.
Does anybody have any questions before I give you some next steps? If you have any questions, please just drop them in the chat. And I'm going to talk about those next steps. First thing you want to do is craft a plan. How are you going to use LinkedIn? I really recommend, and we recommend this for all of our clients, once again, salespeople, marketing professionals, those in the recruiting side, business owners, CEOs, and presidents. Put LinkedIn on your calendar. Get comfortable knowing where to go in LinkedIn. It's always changing, but just know where to go so that you can be in and out of LinkedIn quickly. You don't have to spend an inordinate amount of time there. So put a plan together. I'm going to connect with 15 new people this week. Who are those people you're going to connect with? Why are you going to connect with them? How are you going to follow up with them? Okay. Build your personal brand. That is your profile. So if you don't have a lot of experience right now, you can talk about that. What are your goals? What kind of a company do you want to be in? What type of culture do you want to contribute to? So all of those, once again, really important. You'll have all of these tips. If you have a network that you've already been putting together, which is great, you can download those first level connections from the settings and privacy area and start to review those people. To me, it's not just about having a good number of people in your network. It's actually about building those relationships. It's about doing more than connecting, but getting to know certain people. We call these people centers of influence. Who are the centers of influence? Maybe they graduated 2 years ago, but maybe they work for a company you're interested in working with. They can be influential and potentially a connector to get you into that company. So you've got to start to build this sort of inner circle of connections that will help you get to the next place in your career. Think about content, because what we didn't have time to talk a lot about content today, but I want you to think about content as a way to continually stay visible. So you might want to, and I would not get too personal or political, it should be professional content. Janelle, for sending the Zoom recording, will it be sent to an email address based on the email used to log in for the Zoom meeting? Yes. The answer, yes. You will be all set with that. So do think about maybe creating or sharing content from some companies that you're interested in, or things that Towson University is doing, because that really is the organization you represent the most. Go for significance. LinkedIn is definitely the place where you want to build out this community of people who will help you today and tomorrow with your career. At some point, people will want to be connecting with you because you're working for a particular company or you're contributing to your industry in a really powerful way. So right now, you want to be the person that's gathering the right types of connections. The more you personalize on LinkedIn, the better. You will have better results if you personalize. And that is one of the things that recruiters and hiring managers will absolutely be looking for. You can reach out to presidents and CEOs of companies as well, and they might not connect with you, or they may not conduct the interview, but they might refer you to, hey, like reach out to this person on our team. So don't be afraid to be connecting with senior level leadership, especially in smaller companies. It's going to be harder to do in large companies. Most people they're not managing their own LinkedIn profile. So as we just wrap up, we have a couple minutes. How do you currently present? I'm hoping from today's session, you walked away with 1 or 2 tips on a way that you could stand out more. How can you extend your personal and professional presence? The biggest question of all, will you actually do something as a result of today's session? So everyone should really take a good look at their profile, and then look at people who are working in the companies that they'd like to work for, or in the industry that you'd like to work for, who are a couple of years ahead of you. Do they have any information on their LinkedIn profile that might give you some ideas of what you could add to yours? Okay. We have a slide in here. I want to maximize LinkedIn to do what? Get an internship, get a job, move to a different city. You can jumpstart your network in any way you want. You just need to be really kind of purposeful with how you do that. Happy to connect with you. We have lots of content on our website, interoadvisory.com, where you can gain some additional insight into all of these areas. We have lots of blog posts. We actually have a recording that I will just show you right on our website that our recruiter did. And I would highly suggest that you take a look right at under resources. So We have some webinars here, and this will absolutely help you go even more in depth. So with that, we have 1 minute left. Portia, I took so many notes. It's been the best LinkedIn tutorial session I've attended. Thank you, Portia. I appreciate that. Lots of work. Always just keep it going. And happy to connect with you. If I can introduce you to anyone, I'm happy to do so. Rachel, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hadera, thank you. Appreciate it. John, thanks so much.
Well, this concludes our webinar. Thank you, Colleen, so much for joining us today and leading this presentation. I definitely know, like I said, I have a lot of work to do on my LinkedIn profile as well. I sort of update it, but it's not the best it can be. And I just wanted to share some information with everyone before you left just about the Alumni Association. We're a free organization, so once you graduate, you're automatically a member. You don't have to join, you're automatically in. We have an online community that you can join to connect with former classmates, register for events, and see different discount programs that we offer. And then we also have an Alumni Alliance program where you can form groups with other alumni on specific interests, whether it's geographical locations, student activities that you participated in, cultural or identity. Groups can be formed around anything. So feel free to visit our alumni website. When I send out the email recording, I will include all of our websites in there. We hope you can join us for other events being held this week. We have more webinars the rest of the week, and we still have some senior photos. Make sure that you follow us on social media. I've posted them in the chat boxes. Then you can connect with us. We also have a Towson University Alumni Association LinkedIn group, so you can join us on there as well. And thank you for coming, and we hope to see you soon.